Hey, what's up guys, it's Connor Wraith here, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be counting down the top 5 best and worst signature perks in Multiverses. Now, quick rule, this list will mainly be focusing on 1v1, so I will be excluding any perks that are only effective in 2v2s. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get right into the countdown. For the 5th worst perk, I'm putting Shaggy's Hangry Man perk. Now, in all reality, this perk isn't that terrible in concepts. Essentially, what it allows you to do is if you are holding a sandwich, you save 0.5 seconds while charging. Which, you know, it doesn't seem like a lot. However, with a game that is as fast as Multiverses, like that 0.5 seconds could come in handy. But the main problem with this perk comes from the fact that it almost completely gets rid of one of your best options, which is your big sandwich. And while, yeah, it is still possible to throw a big sandwich if you have Hangry Man, essentially what you would need to do is throw your sandwich, hit the opponent, and still have your sandwich grabbable, charge up without your opponent grabbing the sandwich, and then go and pick up the sandwich yourself, which is just not realistic. And then, of course, also, if you're fighting a bug, so you could always pull a sandwich and you could grab it, but also kind of hard to do, but, yeah, just not having Big Sandwich, this perk just kind of downgrades Shaggy in a way, which is why it's the 5th worst. For the 5th best, I'm putting Wonder Woman's Whip of Hephaestus. Now, Whip of Hephaestus, on paper, sounds like just an alright perk, however, for Wonder Woman's kit, it's an absolute game changer. What this perk does is essentially it makes the tip of the lasso have a really powerful hitbox that kills, and as you know, Wonder Woman's main issue is kill power. Unless you hit a lucky up B or a lucky side B in the air, or use her spike, which is just the kill move for everyone, you're not going to be killing very early as Wonder Woman. That's where this perk comes in. This perk can kill extremely early if you have a really good setup with lasso, especially with the range on that move. This move can also go through ledge, so you can catch people trying to climb the wall and either kill them or put them in a really bad disadvantage state. And yeah, lasso was already one of Wonder Woman's best moves, but this perk just makes it even more deadly, which is why it's the 5th best perk. Now for the 4th worst, I'm putting Velma's Studied. Now, being honest, there aren't really any god-awful perks in Multiverses. However, in terms of usefulness, I'm putting Studied just because, you know, calling in the Mystery Machine is just not that useful of an ability in 1v1s. And, you know, having a piece of evidence already collected doesn't really do much in the grand scheme of things. It takes 5 pieces of evidence to get the Mystery Machine, and having one piece of evidence, it doesn't really speed up the process that much. But once you do get it, having Mystery Machine 1v1s is just not that good because it's very easy to just jump around it. And even if it does get you, unless you're just in a terrible position, it's more than likely not going to kill you. But yeah, it's not a terrible perk by any means, but it's just not very useful, which is why I consider it the 4th worst. Now for the 4th best, I'm putting Tom and Jerry's Dynamite Split. Now, Dynamite Split's a really good perk just because it lets you control neutral like no other. Like, if you do not have this perk equipped, then Dynamite is kinda useless in a way. You have to really aim it, which can be hard, and it's just not really worth it. But with Dynamite Split, it goes 3 different directions and covers about half the stage, which is just really nice. And if you're really close to them and you get all 3 dynamites, then that's some really good damage as well. It almost rivals Batman's ability to play neutral with Batarang, just because this move is on such a short cooldown. You have 2 of them, and you know, if you have a cooldown, you know, general perk that reduces it, then it becomes even faster. It just allows you to play neutral so well on top of Slingshot, which is why it's just, you know, it's a very good perk, which is why it comes in at the 4th best. Coming in at 3rd worst, I'm putting Gizmo's Rhythm's Gonna Getcha. Now essentially what this perk does is if you land all of your music notes, then it will force your opponent to taunt in place, leaving them wide open for an attack. Now of course this sounds great in concept, however it is almost impossible to get all your music notes in there. You see, without this perk, it costs 8 to silence the opponent, and this is already hard enough. I don't think I've ever once gotten all 8 music notes. This perk, however, makes it 12, making it even more impossible to land it. Ironically enough though, I actually use this perk whenever I play Gizmo, just for the simple reason that, you know, his first perk is the backpack perk, which only works in teams, so it's useless for 1v1s. His second perk is the perk that allows you to explode your popcorn in your car with down B. And I don't like this perk simply because I really like it. I really like dragging down popcorn with my down B, so I prefer not to use it, which just leaves me with this perk, which, it's just as useless as the backpack perk, but, I guess in the off chance, like very off chance that I were to get all 12 music notes, I guess I would get a free hit, but that never happens. It's never once happened to me, even when I don't have the perk equipped and it's 8. But yeah, that's why it's the third worst perk. For the third best perk, I'm putting Batman's Batarang. Now what Batarang does is essentially if the Batarang is coming back towards you, then it applies 5 stacks a weekend instead of the normal 1. Now 5 stacks a weekend is absolutely insane. I personally think that weekend is probably the worst state to be in this game, and if you run hit them while they're down, then it does even more. And with Batman's absolutely insane combos he can pull off, then that damage just keeps racking up. This perk just makes Batarang even more of a deadly move than it already is, which it's already a pretty damn good move, which is why I consider it the third best. Coming in at second worst, I'm putting Superman's Flaming Reentry. Now, I'm not putting Flaming Reentry here because of the actual effects of the perk, but rather the fact that it's on one of the worst moves in the game. What this perk does is that once you land with Superman's up B on the ground, it will create a firewall. And yeah, Superman's up B on ground is just a terrible move. For one, the move has massive startup, and while you do get super armor while you're on the ground, as soon as you go up into the air, you lose that super armor, leaving you wide open for an attack. And the actual perk effect of leaving a firewall doesn't really mean diddly squat. I mean, Rain Dog can literally create a firewall with a single fireball that's 1,000 times more effective. Plus, the firewall itself is pretty fucking puny. At least in comparison to Iron Giant's Dare, if you have that one perk equipped, that thing is just tiny. You will have no issue running around that thing. And that's even assuming that Superman can land on the ground to apply it in the first place. There's just no reason to run this perk over Sniper Punch and the Ice perk. Yeah, which is why this perk comes in as the second worst. Now for the second best, I'm putting Harley's Glove Control. Now what this perk allows you to do is essentially it allows you to angle your down air. And this is absolutely game changing for Harley because her dare is already one of the best dares in the game. And dares are already one of the best move types in the game because, spiking is just insane in this game. So being able to angle it allows you to space on stage. It allows you to be safer when you're trying to clip somebody right at the, top of the ledge. If you angle it correctly, then you can combo directly into your up B, which is a really nice kill confirm. This perk, it just makes Harley's Dare, one of her safest moves already, a disjointed hitbox even more safer, which is honestly kind of impressive, which is why I'm putting it as the second best. Now for what I consider to be the worst signature perk in Multiverses, I'm putting Morty's Extra Fleep Juice. Now, Morty's Extra Fleep Juice has got to go down as the most confusing perk in the game just from the description alone, because all it says is that it leaves the floor squeaky clean, which doesn't tell us shit about what it actually does. So what does this perk do? Well, if you use Plumbus, it allows you to clean up Tom and Jerry's Trap, Velma's Ice Puddle, her up B on ground, and Garnick's Electric Zone. Needless to say, this is pretty fucking useless, because for one, Plumbus is already a bad move in and of itself. More times than not, if you use that move, you're gonna get punished. And, if you go to clean up the enemy's trap, then, more than likely, you're gonna get punished. Plus, there's little reason to even try and clean up these things. Like, if it's Tom and Jerry's trap, then just throw a grenade at it or shoot it, then it'll get rid of it. And if it's Velma's Ice Puddle or Garnick's Electric Zone, then just avoid it. Don't even bother putting yourself out in the open and more than likely getting punished for it. It's not worth it. Overall, this perk is just not useful in the slightest, and even when you do try to use its function, more times than not it'll end up backfiring for you, which is why I consider it to be the worst perk in the game. Finally, for the number one best perk in Multiverses, I'm putting Taz's Iron Stomach. Now this might seem like a weird one to put at number one just because this perk is entirely matchup dependent. Meaning, if you fight a character with no projectile, then it becomes completely useless. However, for the matchups that do have a projectile, then it becomes an absolute game changer for Taz. What this perk does is, anytime you swallow a projectile, it allows you to get an anvil. that anvil will do 10 damage on hit, and if you hit the opponent 3 times, then that does 30 damage. Having a throwable item with any character is just an extremely useful tool, and Anvil just allows Taz to completely dominate neutral. And it also just completely nullifies some matchups, like good luck trying to play Bugs against the Taz with this perk, because then it just becomes impossible. Your safe, instantly swallowed. Your rocket, instantly swallowed. It's just impossible, which is why I consider this perk to be the greatest perk in the game. Well guys, that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you can go ahead and leave a like and subscribe, that'd mean a lot. I really appreciate the support I've been getting in the past few videos. If you disagree with this list, go ahead and leave your opinions in the comments below. And yeah, see you, bye.